Okay. You're listening to the Station 71 podcast with your hosts, Mario.
Brian.
Oh, sorry. I'm waiting. I'm sitting here. I'm like, Beth. Okay.
We can start over if you
Let's
want.
just start over, yeah.
We need like an outtakes.
I'm gonna do a bonus episode one day.
Oh man.
Did you guys tell Kirsten about the one outtake that we had with Beth? We were talking about Expedition Everest.
Oh, that was so good. She went on this
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
Before she even went on her tirade, we were talking about the Yeti in Expedition Everest, and Brian said this is one of the worst, the biggest travesties at Walt Disney World. And I guess Beth wasn't paying attention, and she started talking about Rivers of Light.
Oh, that's right. Because all she heard was travesty, and that was the next thing on the list. And she went on this 2-minute tirade all about Rivers of Light, and at the end of it, we just didn't say anything because we were like, oh, I guess we're done talking about Everest.
And we hadn't even really gone into Everest. So Brian and I, as soon as she's done, just busted out laughing.
Oh man, that was great.
I managed to save it though, and I just swapped it around so we kept her original audio.
Good.
Anyway, you're listening to the Station 71 podcast with your hosts Mario,
Brian,
and Kirsten.
Intro music. So this week we are going to take a look at two very short topics, I think. But let's, as always, dive into the news first. As of today, the day that we're recording this, not the day that this podcast is going up, 2019 Disney dates are open to book until March. Super exciting because it's always exciting when Disney adds new dates to their calendar. I booked my trip this coming year today, so I'm really excited about that. I know Brian's probably got plans to go next week. What about you, Kirsten? Do you have any plans to go?
It's really sad. We were actually just in the car yesterday, and I was like, when are we going to go back to Disney World? He's like, my husband was like, I don't know. It's only been, he was like, 9 months. That's a long time. I don't know. So I don't know. Eli's getting older to where I can see now how it's easier with the little baby, because I think he would not enjoy it now being cramped in the stroller all day. He just wants to be out crawling around and doing his own thing. So, and that makes being on a plane with him even harder. So I don't know. Hopefully sometime in 2019. I mean, we didn't really have a trip plan for 2018, but as time passes, it gets harder to resist the siren call.
Yeah, definitely. That was we finally started talking about our trip, and we pulled the trigger, booked it today, and I'm super excited. So it's going to be nice to get back to my happy place. Like I said, I'm sure Brian's got a trip planned for this weekend or something.
Actually next weekend. Sorry, I went this past weekend. I'm not going this weekend, but I am going the next weekend.
Man,
are you going to Hollywood Studios next weekend?
I am actually not. I'm hoping that Hollywood Studios just kind of sucks everybody over there, and we will be able to enjoy Magic Kingdom at a relatively peaceful rate.
I feel like you might have some luck with that.
Yes.
So we can actually segue right into another topic on here. I'm going to skip the next one and go into the last aerial shots of Toy Story Land construction are being posted to the internet today. I've heard lots and lots of positive reviews about Toy Story Land, so it's super exciting to finally hear that we are getting just that much closer to the opening day. I know Brian and I are excited. How do you feel about this, Kirsten? We haven't really talked about this with you on here.
I'm excited. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm definitely more excited about other stuff coming up. And I like Toy Story, but I'm not one of those oh my God, Toy Story, best ever. I cry every time. So I'm excited, but it's definitely not something that I'm like, oh my God, we have to go for opening, like with Star Wars and that sort of thing. But I mean, and I love roller coasters, so I'm excited to see how the Slinky Dog coaster is. You know, maybe it'll be a little thrill, since they're not big on thrill rides. So we shall see. I'm still worried about other things getting taken out of Hollywood once this stuff opens, like Muppet Vision and, you know, that sort of thing. So.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something that I'm worried about too. I am very fearful that they're going to start closing things in studios that don't make sense with this new theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
Well, and why is there no Pizza Planet? Like, I'm sorry, I loved Pizza Planet, and now it's that like Rizzo restaurant, which I have not been to, so I can't talk. But it's like the perfect opportunity to have a real Pizza Planet and do like an upgraded modern version of Disney Quest, in my personal opinion. But
I think that is a perfect idea to put in here. Like redo it right, because the old Pizza Planet wasn't, I mean, it wasn't like Pizza Planet from the movie. So
yeah.
I didn't really get the point of it.
Yeah, and the idea of Pizza Planet from the movie would really just tie in perfectly with Toy Story Land. I don't know why they haven't said anything about that.
Exactly.
And especially since, you know, it's not going to be a very attraction dense area of the park, it seems like. So having something else kind of like that in there seems like it would be good that you're getting a restaurant and kind of an arcade thing to have more stuff for people to do.
Yeah. So I have been like kind of following this since they started doing cast previews and stuff, and a lot of people are really excited about the theming of Toy Story Land, which was something I thought was going to be its weakest point. So I've gotten even more excited about this section of the park.
Yeah, the pictures do look pretty cool. Like in the coaster, like the big Jenga game and like the blocks and stuff. Because that is probably my favorite part of Toy Story Mania. And like Tinker Toys. I don't know if any of y'all were like obsessed with Tinker Toys. Or a little, but I for sure was.
Yeah, I was totally obsessed with Tinker Toys, and I am very excited to see like what other toys they incorporate in here, because I've seen a lot of like you said, like the Jenga towers, the blocks, and the Tinker Toys and stuff like that. And I feel like there's going to be little hidden things throughout the park that are going to tie it together nicely.
Yeah.
So next up on our news topics is bus arrival times arrive in My Disney Experience with the newest update. So for those of you that don't know or haven't been in a while, a lot of the resorts have like a bus tracker on them now where it'll tell you how long it'll be until your bus arrives. And now you can do that in the My Disney Experience app. I guess this is exciting.
I just don't understand, why has this feature not been there already?
Yeah, it does seem like a little low tech to be something they're just now doing.
I mean, they're already tracking the buses. They're putting the wait times up at the bus stops. You know, they've had the ability to put this in the app probably since the app's been made. I don't understand why it's taking this long.
Yeah, that's very odd that it's taken them that long.
But I mean, all in all, I think it's a good thing. Just, you know, one more way to better stay connected on the app.
Yeah, and it's a little change, but it's definitely something that is useful, so that's good. I'm not a big fan of checking the bus times because I feel like, one, they're never like spot on to the point that I can like actually say, okay, in 25 minutes my bus will be here. And at the same time, I also feel like that just makes the wait come like a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Like then you're constantly checking your phone or your watch and you're like, okay, the bus should have been here by now.
Yeah, I noticed when we went, it would do, and Brian mentioned, I think it was Brian mentioned this off air. No, it was you, Mario, that like you would watch and the time would get longer instead of shorter. And it's like, I don't want to know that I'm going to have to stand here. And I feel like you're so much more conscious of how long you're waiting when you have it available like that. But if they want people to really start using the app, the best thing, in my opinion, they could do was bring back those free phone charging stations that they had as like a test run in Cosmic Rays a couple years ago. That was amazing. Like, my Disney experience killed your battery. Nobody wants to be walking around with a dying battery, especially when you have to, you know, do it for the gram and all that stuff. Like, you your phone. So that infuriates me to no end. Like, that's what keeps me from using my Disney experience the most.
But they can't sell fuel rods if they have free charging stations set up.
Yeah. Again, thanks, Bob Iger.
I see. I don't know, because there's such like a controversial opinion with Disney transportation. Like, there are so many people that will purposely rent a car or drive down just to have their car so they don't have to wait for buses. I think if Disney wants people to use this portion of the app, they need to really work on the buses first.
I personally like taking the bus because of the smell. It reminds me of, I don't know, it's like a very nostalgic smell for me. I know that's weird, but oh well.
I mean, I can't really say anything because I love the buses too. And I might be the smell that does it for me.
Just like one time you have to ride it, like, you know, to get that bus smell for the week.
So our next topic, which is also in line with the transportation, minivans have added accessible vehicles and they're now available to anyone. We also noticed that there was some other stuff going on with the minivans. Like Brian pointed out before we started recording, they will now take you to the airport for an extra charge. So this is interesting that they're kind of updating the minivan program and really still trying to work with this.
I think extra charge is an understatement. If you
yeah.
want a minivan to the airport from Disney property, it's $150. At that point, just get a regular Uber, people. Like, way cheaper, same value proposition.
Yeah, for anyone that's never taken it, it's less than a 30-minute drive from the airport to Disney property. So
it's less than a 30-minute Magical Express bus ride, which is free.
Yes. That's true.
I guess I get it, because the thing that always kind of ruins the end of my Disney trip is waiting 4 hours before my plane is supposed to board for the Magical Express to come and collect everyone. So I guess if you really want to drag out your trip, you could do something like this, but then to your point, Kirsten, just get an Uber or get another Lyft vehicle. Like,
yeah,
there's other options.
Yeah, like I have my whole family. We have TSA pre-check and all that, so we can get through security pretty fast. And we all travel a lot, and you know, I know it's a lot faster when you travel a lot going through security.
Oh yeah.
So we don't need to be there that early. So that is pretty irritating, like the fact that you have to get there so early with Magical Express. But if I were going to take a different, it would probably be cheaper to like literally rent a car at that car rental place outside Magic Kingdom, drive it to the airport and return it, than take a minivan. Like, that's just too expensive. And I'm a big fan of minivans in general, but that price tag is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a tipping point.
Oh, and I will say on this article, it said the price in general for minivans has raised from $20 to $25. But if you're paying $20 for it anyway, you're probably not going to be deterred by a $5 price increase. And then also the accessible vans, they are a lot bigger, but they can still only fit one wheelchair. So if you're traveling with multiple wheelchairs, you're going to need 2 of them. That's really handy.
You've done minivans. Have you done like a regular Uber from anywhere in the park to like your hotel?
I haven't. I've done it to one of the Disney Springs hotels, but not to an actual resort like Boardwalk or, you know, whatever.
If you don't mind sharing, what was the price from where you went to where you ended up? Like, how much was your Uber cost?
I think, you know, and obviously it would depend on like where you were going, but I think it was in the range like between $12 and $15. So definitely cheaper if you're, on a like going to be really price conscious, but depending on like just your situation and who you're traveling with and like where you're going and like what all you have with you, I think it might be worth the extra money. But it, again, just depends on the situation. We took minivans because we were traveling with my parents, and my dad hates to wait in line. Like, he would slit his wrists if he had to wait in line for something like 4 hours for flight of passage or something. He would just like kill himself. But he was fine with like, he's like, whatever, I'll pay $20. Let's take the minivan. And I'm like, okay, you're paying for it. Let's go.
It's not too bad. And if you kind of think, I think we talked about this a little bit. If you think about the people that don't really like the idea behind like Uber and Lyft of just some random person picking you up in their car and driving you somewhere, I feel like you definitely feel safer knowing that it's Disney endorsed. So I think that's a lot of the reason that they can get away with that.
Yeah, definitely so. And because like the people in general, who are able to easily spend that money are older, and a lot of them are like just not familiar with like Uber, and they've heard of it but they like haven't ever used it, and it's weird and foreign to them, so they don't really want to. So I think it definitely appeals to those kind of people.
I think when I go down, I want to take a minivan just to say that I took one, but that's about where I think it wants to, like, it's going to end.
Yeah.
So, are we ready to dive into our topics this week?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess the first thing we can talk about, I have to actually go back and look at the topics list because I forgot to copy and paste the email, so bear with me a second. Okay. A couple weeks ago, we got a email from one of our listeners, April, who had asked about the birthday cake hotline. And we wanted to kind of wait on this because the only person that's actually done this on the podcast is Kirsten. So we kind of wanted to go over that, answer just some details about it, share the experience that Kirsten had with it, and just kind of go over what the birthday cake hotline is for people that are interested in that. So I'm going to turn that over to you, Kirsten. You can kind of just let us know what it is, how it works, and what you have to do in order to get in contact with someone on the birthday cake line.
Okay. Like caveat, it has been a long time since I did this. I did this when I was working there in 2011. I am old. And with the combination of me being old and like rules possibly changing, I might not be like 100% true on all of this, but I'll try. Like, y'all fact check this if you're really going to do it, just to make sure. But basically you can order, and some of the cakes are really amazing. A custom cake, it doesn't have to be for a birthday, really for anything, from Disney, and they will deliver. Like when I did this, it was my aunt had, she and a couple friends were visiting me, and it was a 13th birthday. And it was the week of the new Pirates of the Caribbean coming out. And so I ordered like just a 1-tier, I don't even remember what flavor, but they have a lot of options. But it like Pirates themed, and it was gorgeous. It was not, something that you would pick up at Kroger or Walmart or whatever. It was amazing. Like it had gold coins on it and sand and like shells made out of, chocolate, and like this amazing treasure chest that was all painted with, like the food coloring. It was so pretty. And they delivered it. We were staying at the Grand Floridian, and we had the birthday dinner at Narcoossee's, which I'm really not a fan of. If anybody's curious about that restaurant, I would not recommend it.
Really?
Yes, I don't. I've been there several times, and that was probably my worst experience, but that's a different story. But they delivered it to the our table at the restaurant and all that. I just kind of reminded them when we got there, like, oh, hey, we ordered a cake and, blah, blah, blah. But so they can really do anything that you want. I've seen them recreate top tiers of wedding cakes. I've seen them, I don't know, do all kinds of crazy stuff. And they're on Disboards. There are a couple cake chatter threads, and people put pictures up. I don't know if those have been updated as commonly as they used to be. I know when I did this back in 2011, it was pretty active, but you can still look through there for ideas. But basically, what you'll do is, depending on where you're going to be staying and where you're eating, they can either deliver it to your room or deliver it to the restaurant. And you do have a better chance of getting like a really fancy, impressive cake if you're eating at a nicer restaurant, just because of the chefs. Obviously, like somebody at Citrico's is way more used to making this cake than somebody at, I don't know, Shutters. So it does depend on that, but you'll call. And how I set it up was they gave me an email address, and so I just emailed some pictures of cakes that I'd found, and you tell them like your reservation time and date and all that sort of thing. And we did it mainly via email, but you can also do it on the phone. And in addition to just the custom cakes, they have kind of different options at each place too. Like the Mickey, the dome cakes are really popular, and those are easy to get. It's not really a custom. Or then they'll do like a Mickey shaped head that's either chocolate or vanilla. That's like 6 inches. So there are some not completely custom options too. And I don't know how I found this the other day because I was not looking at cakes, but at Contemporary, they have, and I don't know if they still do, I would hope they do, a chocolate monorail.
Wait, what? Okay, I need
like Google chocolate monorail cake Disney and you might see it, but it's like literally a monorail made out of chocolate. And but you can, you can only get it if you're staying at Contemporary and order it through room service. Sorry. Hope I didn't break anybody's heart. But yeah, I have to stay. I want to stay at the Contemporary again now just to get a chocolate monorail delivered to my room. Anyway, back on topic. If you want to, so the best resource, in my opinion, for the cakes is Lurky Lou, and her website is DisneyTravelBabble.com. She does a ton on weddings, and she has like a whole section on her website. It's how to, and then you go down to special order a Disney cake, and she talks about a ton of different stuff. So that's kind of just like a general overview. It really depends on like I said, where you're eating and where you're staying. So we can't go through all of that. It would take all night. But if you're eating at a nice restaurant, or staying at one of the premium or like the deluxe resorts, chances are you can get a pretty fancy cake, and they're not cheap. I will say that. But, if it's a celebration, like, it's probably worth it. I'm trying to remember what we paid. I think we got like an 8-inch cake. There were 4 of us, and it was way too much for 4 people. It was probably to feed like 8 or something. And it was, I think, 3 layers. So a normal, like, nice, round, pretty tall cake. And I'm pretty sure it was at least $90. So it's not cheap. But if it's like one of those like once in a lifetime trips or something, then I definitely recommend it. We had a good experience. It was like way better than I even imagined, So yeah. Any other questions from y'all?
I think you pretty much covered most of the questions I had. But how long did they give you like a timeline on how long they need to book it? Or anything like that?
I know you can do like the not custom, like, a Mickey face cake or any of that. You can do, it has to be at least 48 hours in advance. As for like the really, really custom ones, I did it like 2 months in advance. And then I checked up like the week before, just that, hey, remember we have this cake order, so it didn't get lost. But I would definitely recommend doing it basically much sooner rather than later. I would think they would need, at least, I think 5 to 7 days notice is like required minimum. So definitely not something I would wait on.
Yeah, it sounds like something that you would want to get done ASAP and try to like reserve it. I'd imagine they probably have some kind of like limited amount of them that they can do too.
Yeah, I'm sure it just depends too on like the season and how busy, like how many other orders they have. Because, you know, if it's a really custom one, obviously it's going to be done by like a pastry chef and they can only work so fast. But on Lurky Lou's website, it has the cake phone number for every single resort. So you can call and talk to them. And then she's got lots of other information, and she has links to the cake chatter threads on Disboards where they have some pictures that you can look at and that sort of thing.
Cool.
Very cool. Do you have any questions about that, Brian? I mean, I honestly did not know this was a thing until April sent it to us.
Yeah, no, I had no idea about this either. I guess, did we go over pricing for this?
Expensive. That's all I'll say.
Well, so I'm looking right now just on the website. I know you had mentioned the kind of like more off the shelf, like Mickey head shaped one.
Yeah.
And from what this is on the official Disney website too. It's saying it feeds 4 to 6 guests, and it's only $35, which, I mean, it's not super cheap, but it's also nowhere near as expensive as I thought it would have been. Now, obviously, like if you do the custom ones here, they say starts at 75, which I'm sure when they say starts at, there's not many people that are getting cakes out the door for that price.
Yeah, and I don't remember like the if there are like fees and taxes, like what the situation is with that, but
yeah, it says plus tax and gratuity. So.
Yeah.
Oof. That's yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a lot. So, anything you want to touch on before we call that topic covered?
I mean, that's all I got. If anybody has specific questions and you can't find the answers, like send us an email and maybe we can figure it out. But I think Lurky Lou is really the best resource out there. And she's so Disney Travel Babble is her website, and she's also on Twitter at Lurky Lou, and I'm pretty sure she's quite active. But she, like, for weddings and cakes, she is like the girl. So
you said that's Disney. You said that's DisneyTravelBabble.com.
Yes.
Is her website? Okay, cool. I'll put that in the show notes. I'll try to gather all of her information and put that down there as well. Cool. But then I guess we can move on to our last topic, which was also a suggestion by listener April. She wanted to know if we could take any ride from any other Disney park and bring it to Walt Disney World, what would it be and where would you put it? Which is a very interesting question, because a lot of the other parks have some very cool rides.
Mario?
Did you guys? Yes.
My GarageBand stopped recording.
That's fine. I have all of this recording on the.
Okay, yeah, because it stopped at like 1 minute in. So,
all good. I got it.
A long time ago.
That's all right. I have it recording on Google Hangouts, so we have a backup.
See, this is how did we make it through last week? Because
it's so funny because I'm always the one that had the problems, and I think I fixed my issue. But I still keep recording the Hangout calls just in case something like freak happens. Which
I think we got lucky last week because we were just like we had no backup, we had no nothing.
I try to like keep it in the side so I can tell if it stops, but I was looking at cake pictures and minivans.
That's I mean that's also very important. Oh, that monorail cake looks so cool.
That is sweet.
But I need like a real chocolate one. White chocolate is fake.
You know, it's funny. We had, when we went in November, someone my parents worked with ordered like a giant chocolate Mickey shipped to us. I think I still have a picture of it somewhere. And I guess that came from the same place because it looks almost identical to this. I mean, we were staying at Bay Lake at that point, so I guess maybe it was from the same place. I don't know. But anyway, So the next topic, no, you're fine. The next topic that listener April wanted us to cover was she had asked us if we could transport a ride from any Disney park and put it in Walt Disney World. Where would we put it, and why would we pick that ride?
We have to say where? Dang.
Yeah, that was the part that I had an issue with because I immediately knew which ride I was going to put in the parks. And then I was like, oh, shoot, I don't think I can do that because it would probably have to replace an attraction that I would miss very much.
Do we have to replace something, or can we say put it where there's extra space here?
See, I don't know, because she didn't say that we had to replace anything. She just said, where would we put it and why?
Then I'm going to be very strategic about this.
Okay. I have a feeling that ours is going to be the same, Kirsten. What are you thinking right now?
Really? I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I have no idea what you're thinking. No,
okay.
Say it on 1, 2, 3. Say it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Pirates from Shanghai.
Nope, that was not mine. As soon as you said the P, I was like, nope, that's not mine. I was gonna say Mystic Manor, and I only thought that.
Second one too.
I only thought that.
Manor. You should have done it with me, Mario.
Well, that's my second. I was gonna say 2 because I was gonna cheat.
I really thought that because I know Kirsten has this undying love for Tom Bricker, and all I ever hear from him is Mystic Manor.
Yeah, that's definitely I was gonna say, okay, I can't pick between these two. So, but Pirates I thought of first earlier, so that's why I said that one. But yes, Mystic Manor also. Is yours also that, Brian?
That's exactly what he said.
I have
this is a really boring show.
Okay, Brian's gonna carry this show because he's got more than we do.
I mean, I could pick more.
I'm sure I could pick more too. But Pirates is cool because you could. I mean, I think I would actually, and I hate that I'm going to say this, I would be okay with replacing Pirates with the Shanghai Pirates just because of the technology in it. I really think that that's probably the best version of Pirates that's out there right now.
It looks, I mean, obviously I've never ridden it. We've never ridden it. Well, all three of us have only been to Disney World. So anything we choose, we've never ridden. But I mean, I don't generally recommend ride-through videos, but if you want to do a ride-through video, watch a ride-through of Pirates from Shanghai because it looks out of this world amazing. I mean, it's so cool.
Now, I'm going to completely disagree with y'all on being okay with them replacing Pirates with this. But no, I agree. The technology and everything in this is absolutely incredible. But I'm almost going to say that, okay, I don't think you can stick it in Magic Kingdom anywhere. But I think Disney World could get away with having 2 different pirate attractions spread across the parks, and because they're just so drastically different from each other. I have no idea where you put this, but
you know what? I'm going to say you could probably put it in Hollywood Studios.
I'll take it.
That would be appropriate.
I think that that's the best place that you could probably put it. I mean, obviously it's kind of a mess of different things right now, but even with the future of Star Wars coming, you have Indiana Jones and stuff. It's still kind of about the movies. You could definitely squeeze it in there somewhere.
I know where I'd put it.
Where would you put it?
Hang on, it's left my brain because I'm old.
The Little Mermaid.
Well, that's actually a good decision, but no. I don't want to not say it till I have the whole thing right. Hang on. I'm Googling. Commissary. There.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Thing right where the commissary is. Terrible. Or sci-fi. Sci-fi sucks too. No shame. No apologies.
Oh no, shots fired.
Yeah, the end.
So, Brian, since we're thinking Mystic Manor, where would you put it? Because I'm going to ignore that.
So, I think you can actually, and I kind of along the same lines of Pirates, I think Mystic Manor is different enough from Haunted Mansion that you can have both of them. And I think you could get away with having both of these in the same park.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, which is why I said put Mystic Manor in Adventureland.
Okay, I totally 100% agree with that. I really like I've never ridden Mystic Manor, and like Kirsten said, none of us have been outside of Walt Disney World, so it's kind of hard to like actually say this, but Mystic Manor is like everything I would ever want in a Disney attraction. So if they brought that to Walt Disney World, I would sign me up. I would be there the day it opened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you could put it where Swiss Family Treehouse is.
I was gonna say that, yeah. As much as I hate to see it go, like that would make the most sense. Because not only do you have that space now to do it, but like if you look at the like facade of Mystic Manor, it almost has the same kind of architecture ish that Skipper Canteen has. So I think they would actually kind of fit with each other.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And for anybody listening, and I think this is probably, well, part of this is probably true for all of us. I think it's partially why I'm not like amazingly excited about Toy Story Land is because I love like the tech. I mean, that is what just kills me about Imagineering. It's like the most amazing job. I would like, they could pay me to clean the floors there with a toothbrush and I would do it. And so there's no like new tech in Toy Story Land really that I've heard about. Not like, you know, the Ursula and like the shaman animatronics and that sort of thing. But Mystic Manor, when it came out, was like amazing tech, and it's a trackless ride vehicle. It's similar to Haunted Mansion and like I think the style of the different rooms and all that. But they can like all of the vehicles travel freely throughout the ride, and they get instructions from RFID technology and like Wi-Fi. So that's what I think might be what like why all of us are so interested in it. That's definitely what drew me to first learn about it. So if anybody's wondering like why we all are talking about Mystic Manor, that's part of the reason probably.
And my thing with it is like every park has their own, I guess you could kind of call it Haunted Mansion, which some of them aren't even Haunted Mansion. Like this one is totally not anything like the Haunted Mansion, but it's similar in style. And that's where I first heard about it. And that's what really led me to look into it. And this is like by far one of the most amazing attractions that Disney has put out. And even to what Kirsten said, the technology is fantastic, but you're gonna have to forgive me because I cannot remember his name, but the little monkey, I think his name's Albert.
I think that's correct.
I think that's what his name is. He is everything that Figment should be. So like, come on, bring him to Walt Disney World. We need that back.
Yeah. But yeah, like you were saying, because I first heard about this in this book that I know I've mentioned on here like 100 times, but The Haunted Mansion, Imagineering a Disney Classic. And it goes through, you know, what basically the Haunted Mansion at Disney World and Disneyland, and then kind of like the offshoots of that, like Phantom Manor and stuff. And so when I was reading the book and looking at some of the pictures and everything, yeah, it seemed like it was kind of like Hong Kong's take on the Haunted Mansion. But after I watched the ride-through video, like it doesn't feel at all like the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing about it. Like, I like the idea that some Disney parks share attractions. Like, it's really neat because there are some parks that, you know, we'll never be able to visit, but we still have that similar idea.
Bite your tongue. We're going to all of them.
Okay. Yeah. Bite my tongue. We're going to all of them. But I know right now it's not entirely feasible for me to go to pretty much any of the other parks besides the ones in the US. So the idea that some of these attractions exist and are similar, that's really cool because I feel like I'm not missing a ton. But then they open these attractions like this where it's like their version of this ride and it's totally different. And I'm like, nope, there we go. Got to go to this park.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about Phantom Manor? I haven't really looked too much into that, but how do you think that stacks up? Obviously, it's probably not as good as Mystic Manor.
Yeah, you know, I think it's definitely more closely tied to the Haunted Mansion, which, you know, it's like for this topic at least, I don't think you can have Phantom Manor and Haunted Mansion like in the same park, or even have them, you know, at different parks in Disney World. But I mean, it seems like, kind of just a slight spin on the Haunted Mansion.
Right.
Yeah. I don't really have I feel like Disneyland Paris is kind of like the redheaded stepchild. I feel like it's not ever overcome that stigma. So I don't, when I think about like, oh my God, Disney parks, and it's weird because I love Paris. It's like my favorite city ever, but I just don't get like overly excited about things that are there. But I do have a soft spot for it just because Tony Baxter had a lot to do with its inception, which I think is really cool, but definitely secondary to Mystic Manor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. Did you guys have any other ones? Because like I'm kind of scrolling through them now and thinking.
The third one I would say is Tron Light Cycle, and that's actually coming here. So yay.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm very excited about that. And that's one of those things that's really weird too, is like that was something that when Shanghai opened, everybody's like, please bring this to Walt Disney World. And like we all kind of willed it into existence because now it is.
Yep.
I don't know if this is because I watched something on what it could have been, but I really like the idea of Hyperspace Mountain, like the original idea behind it. So that's something I would like to see come to Disney World.
That's a good one. So now, do you have this as just the Space Mountain overlay?
I don't know.
A completely different ride and sticking it in Galaxy's Edge.
So it would be cool as either, but I don't know. I think it would probably fit better in Galaxy's Edge, but at the same time, it's like it's so similar to Space Mountain that like, it could just go in Space Mountain.
All right.
Brian, did you have one?
Yeah, I've got a list of them here. So, okay, I'll start off with one that this wasn't necessarily mine. It was actually a Reddit thread from a couple days ago. Actually, I think it was just yesterday. But I know we just kind of talked about this, and I feel bad because Beth's not here to defend it. But
oh no,
they were talking about replacing Dinosaur with Indiana Jones. And, this has been brought up before, and we talked about how, it's not going to fit with the theming, and what would they do with that area? And someone on Reddit was mentioning that it would make sense to change Dinosaur to Indiana Jones and then retheme Dino Land as South America, which I think actually makes a whole lot of sense.
I'd be down.
Yeah, as Chester and Hester's goes away, I'm down.
Light on Disney property.
Oh yeah, I should have waited for Beth to be on here to mention this.
But I know, so glad. All alone. That's why I'm saying that.
I'm so glad Kirsten's back. Someone hates Chester and Hester's as much as me.
And but I was thinking about this. I'm like, I like Chester and Hester's, but I can't argue that Chester's and Hester's is a better theming fit than this. I think if you take Dinosaur out, make it Indiana Jones, and you put in now South America area, like it makes sense. You've got Asia, Africa, and South America now.
And Brazil, and so all of the Brazilians could go there and stop crowding up the line for Tower of Terror and other.
Oh, the other one that I was looking at, I don't know how a lot of the attractions that don't have English translations kind of get a little bit lost on me. So you're going to have to forgive me if it's not as good as it actually is. But I want, and I totally just lost it. Pooh's Honey Hunt, I think it is the one from one of the other parks. I want that to replace our Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
That's
All right,
another
I
one.
am not familiar with this.
So there's a couple things that it does a little bit differently, namely the part where your vehicle bounces is more of a screen-based thing than like the ride bouncing, which is fine. I'll take it or leave it with the Disney screens. But the really cool thing is the Heffalump sequence. It's less of like cardboard cutouts of Heffalumps and more animatronics and black lights.
Oh, cool.
So I'm down for that.
And it's the trackless RFID technology also.
That too. So more trackless systems, please.
I would also say Sinbad's Storybook Voyage, because once again, Tom Bricker,
I knew it.
he loves it. Therefore, I believe that it is amazing and I would love it too. I don't know where. I think it would also definitely fit in Adventureland somewhere. Y'all would hate me for saying that it could replace. God, what is wrong with me? I'm so old. Jesus. You can put this. You can leave this in or put it on the outtakes. I don't care. I'm ancient. Can't remember anything. What's the bird? What's the birds?
Oh no, not the tiki room.
What?
Yes.
I'm offended that you're taking it out. I'm offended that you didn't remember the name of it.
I am so old. I can't help it.
This is what happens when we don't go to Disney for a year.
I'm ashamed of myself. Not
The
ashamed.
one with the birds. Come on.
I don't know how I feel about that. I would put it over Swiss Family Treehouse before the Tiki Room.
Well, we already have Mystic Manor over there.
All right, fair.
That's why. I mean, if Mystic Manor isn't there, then yes, it can take over the treehouse. But if
Put it over Magic Carpets of Aladdin.
well, I feel like it needs more room than that.
That's true.
And besides, we can't get rid of Magic Carpets of Aladdin for Chant and his son. Remember?
That's true. We also can't get rid of the Jungle Cruise, so don't even think about touching that.
Oh yeah, definitely not the Jungle Cruise.
There's got to be other ones that I can think of.
Okay, well, one of mine is the 20,000 Leagues from Tokyo Disney Sea, which is a really, really cool take on like the classic 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I want to stick it right back where it belongs. Journey of the Little Mermaid is. Just go ahead and rip that back out, put 20,000 Leagues back in there, but put the new one in there from Disney Sea.
Oh.
That reminds me, this is kind of not related, but it's like a fun fact for anybody who likes Disney history. It reminds me of Disneyland's the old submarine voyage ride they used to have.
Mm-hmm.
And when they had that, they actually had girls who acted as live mermaids out in the water. And there's a really, really cool article. I'll send it to you. Have y'all ever read it?
I don't think so,
but
I'm intrigued.
It's by Jim Korkis, but I think it's a really long interview with this woman who, whenever she was 17, was a mermaid in the summer of 1959. And just like, I'm pretty sure OSHA regulations would not allow this to happen now. But it's just such a cool article to see like how it used to be. And I don't know, if you like Disney history, it's definitely interesting. It's on mouseplanet.com. It's like the Disneyland 1959 Mermaid Tale of Susan. And I'll send it to you so we can put it in the show notes. But
that's pretty cool.
It's worth a read.
There's also a Defunct Land episode on 20,000 Leagues that talks about that. So
what about, and I don't know where we would put this, but what about Journey to the Center of the Earth from Disney Sea?
Ooh, that's another good one. I mean, there's no space for it, but I feel like
that's a massive ride.
Yeah, it is. Like that's like a whole land would have to be rethemed around this. But I mean, I feel like it has to go in Adventureland. I can't think anywhere else it would really fit.
Dang, Adventureland is going to be full by the time we're done.
No, we're just like completely redoing like my favorite land.
Can we just drop this over Tom Sawyer Island?
No, I loved
I was about to say, I like it too.
I know you guys do. That's just one that I don't know. I feel like it's got some space for it back there.
You don't like it when you ride over in the raft and they have to push alligators off their doors? That doesn't like make you feel like you're really living in the wilderness?
I also feel like this kills the theming like a frontier land. It's like, why did these settlers settle in front of an active volcano? It's like a really bad idea.
That is true.
Oh, that's very true.
Oh man.
Go ahead.
You got any more?
I'm scrolling through lists now, so I'm sure I'll come up with something.
All right, I got one that I cheated with. I want California Screaming from DCA, but I don't want to put it in a park.
Where are you going to put it then? Are you putting it in your backyard?
That would be cool, but no. Now this is going to completely change this area and
can I get
the best? Yes.
Boardwalk.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's actually a really good idea.
Now, see, here's the thing though. Like on the one hand, I think it would be cool. It's kind of hard to think how they would have to do it. I feel like you would kind of have to like charge on a per ride basis to do this. But
e-ticket attraction, man.
There you go. Bring it back to the old days. On the one hand, I feel like it would be cool because it would draw more people to the boardwalk, which is an area that I think gets overlooked by a lot of guests. But on the other hand, you're drawing a lot of people to the boardwalk. And one of the cool things about the boardwalk, I think, is kind of the more laid back atmosphere that you get from it.
All right, Brian, I'm going to make your day because I'm going to totally bounce off of this idea. I've talked about how I am neither here nor there on the boardwalk, but to make it more similar to where it's supposed to be themed, why don't we take all of the rides in Chester and Hester's, put them on their own pier in the boardwalk, and put California Screaming at the end of it?
I feel like you're like not talking to like there's another part of your plan where this is like on a floating dock on its own.
No. So
off and it
floats off.
No. Just because. Okay, so I may have to actually send you a picture of this, but how a lot of the like Jersey Shore piers are, there's a straight boardwalk that goes all the way down, and then there's like offshoot piers that'll come off of the boardwalk itself. So you'll like make a right onto the pier, go under like an archway, and then there's just carnival rides everywhere. So we could do something like that where we just take all of the rides in Chester and Hester's, retheme them because those are the kind of rides that you'll see on these piers, and then plop them on this pier and put California Screaming at the end of it.
I like it. I mean,
that's like the highlight of the pier.
You know where I put all the rides from Chester and Hester's?
In a garbage truck.
Discovery Island, and leave it.
But see, now that I'm thinking about it, doing that is kind of like the same idea as California Adventure.
But you know, it's like, I don't know. I like the boardwalk, but I feel like there's something missing from it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm missing from it right now.
Well, see, as someone that really likes it, and you said you stayed there before, haven't you?
Oh yeah, multiple times. Three.
Oh, see, I feel like the people that like staying at the boardwalk for what it is would absolutely hate this.
I think it depends. Like if it was, I mean, I love it because it definitely goes with like the theme and, you know, the old boardwalk with, you know, I mean, it definitely fits, but I wouldn't want my boardwalk like all crowded up like all the parks are. Right. So if the lobby stayed empty and, you know, I mean, theoretically in this fantasy land, it would, I'd be fine with it. I think it would definitely fit with the theme, but in reality, it probably wouldn't work out quite so well.
All right, I have one, and I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this. I feel like someone's going to appreciate this, but it's not a ride, but can we take the Main Street Electrical Parade and put it back where it belongs in the Magic Kingdom?
No, that belongs in the garbage.
No.
I knew there was gonna be one. What about Paint the Night? Can we put Paint the Night there?
Magic for life. Okay.
Whatever you say.
At least Main Street, like at least we always if cast members call it DEP, so that's like just what I know it by as DEP. No, at least that has a chance of coming back, unlike Spectro that got destroyed.
Well, how would you feel if we brought instead of that Paint the Night over?
Oh, I'd be thrilled. Like it is a travesty that there's no night parade right now at Magic Kingdom. Like once again for the third time this show. Thanks, Bob Iger.
I'm just gonna title this show "Thanks, Bob Iger."
Go for it. You can title every show that I'm in "Thanks, Bob Iger" because that's how I feel. Bob, if you're listening, please retire. Go away.
Wait. He's already tried to retire. He keeps coming back, so he's got to retire for good.
Money, go away. Got plenty of it.
I've got an idea for a parade that I think Kirsten will like even better.
Oh no!
All right, look, hear me out. Okay,
if it has anything to do with Country Bears Jamboree, I'm hanging up this call.
We completely flood Main Street and move the electric water pageant and have that be the nighttime parade.
I mean, if I drown myself in the flood, then yeah.
Oh no. Well then, I guess that's that's an idea. I'm not coming up with any other ones.
I mean, I think we hit a lot of the big like e-ticket attractions that only exist at the other parks.
Yeah, for the most part, I think we did. I mean, we left out stuff like all of Cars Land. But I feel like that's not as exciting as it used to be. Like, I remember when that first came out and everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's the best themed land ever. And I mean, maybe it's just because it's not as new anymore. I don't hear too much about it.
I also feel like Disney was kind of banking on the Cars franchise being a little bit more popular than it turned out to be. Which not that it didn't do good, but I don't think it's going to have that staying power that a lot of the other Disney franchises have had.
Oh, definitely.
Like how, when you have a whole land theme around it, you got to think this is probably going to be there for like 15 years minimum. Like 15 years from now, how well is this stuff going to hold up?
Yeah. I would agree with that. It seems like with Toy Story, they waited a long time to like make sure that it had, a super devoted fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Cars got the same like amount of time to like see. And then I think all the sequels honestly didn't help. I think it made people who originally enjoyed Cars kind of be over it and like, oh my God, Cars 3, what? No,
Mm-hmm.
Like my husband, who we've never seen Cars 3, and he like refuses to watch it because he hated Cars 2 that much.
That's kind of the same thing that I felt too. I was, and even after Cars 3 came out and, it got relatively good reviews from what I saw, I'm just like, oh God, now I got to go back and watch Cars 2 again so that I'm like up to speed, and I don't want to have to go do that. So
I cannot tell you how much I hate the Cars franchise, which is funny that I brought this up. I saw the first one. I saw pieces of the second one. I got the third one when Disney Movie Club sent it to me. It's still sitting on my bookshelf wrapped in the plastic wrap. Like, I just have no desire to watch it. But I feel like that's kind of like the general consensus with people our age, at least. Like, not another Cars movie.
Yeah. Which, speaking of all this, we totally forgot in the news. We should have mentioned Incredibles 2 is out and doing amazing in theaters.
It's so good.
Have you seen it?
I saw it over the weekend, and it is so good. I'm not going to give anything away. I do have my gripes with it, but 14 years, and I am still very impressed with this movie.
I actually rewatched The Incredibles when we were coming back from our vacation a couple weeks ago on a flight, because it was like a flight with TVs, and they had it for free, and it aged really well. I was very impressed because I haven't seen it, I don't know, since it came out, the first time, and I was a teenager. And also I will say I was recommended to, if you haven't, rewatch The Incredibles, because it starts up right where The Incredibles 1 ends.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that I just rewatched it, so I kind of remember and I know what's what the story is again.
Yeah, you can literally take the end of the first movie and play it to the start of the second movie, and it's like watching a longer movie. It's very good. I don't want to say anything that's going to spoil it, but you guys should definitely go see it. And
Rogue
let me know
One
how you
and
feel.
the first prequel of Star Wars, basically.
Kind of. But
Not
like I said,
sorry, the first Star Wars movie, not the
not the prequels. I knew where you were going with that.
Old.
It's okay. Rogue One and Episode 2 don't line up perfectly. Or Episode 1. Wow, that was bad.
You're getting there too.
I guess I am, which is sad because I'm the youngest one on this podcast.
Well, I'm the oldest one.
But yeah, I guess if you guys don't have anything else to say about rides and other parks, we can tie this week up and we'll just call it a short episode.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds good with me. I'll record the outro later and everything.
Hopefully my recording isn't terrible. First